Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to look at the challenges and opportunities faced by women-owned businesses. That's just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, there are more women-owned businesses in America than ever before, and the pandemic only accelerated it because so many working moms were faced to choose between their family and going into the office, and now that many companies are demanding that their employees come into the office, some women are saying, I'm going to be my own boss for the rest of my life. To talk about that today, Wendi McGowan-Ellis.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for having me here today. Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, let's talk about that. So you're with Cassandra Capital.
Yes.
And before we get into what your company does, tell us the name, Cassandra. That's an interesting name.
I purposefully chose it. There was a book that came out earlier this year, maybe even late 2021, by a woman named Elizabeth Lester. And the title of the book was Cassandra Speaks. And it's all about the Greek myth of Cassandra, who was a daughter of the king of Priam and Queen Hecuba in Troy. And she was so beautiful that both Zeus, the king of the gods, and his son Apollo were after her. And in order to try and woo her, Apollo gave her a gift that only the gods could give, which is the ability to predict the future. So Cassandra has this ability to predict the future, but she also wasn't really interested in Apollo. So Zeus, being Zeus, he had, millions of other women to go after, but Apollo was so angry that he grabbed Cassandra, spat in her mouth, and cursed her with the curse of no matter what she foresaw in the future, no one would listen to her speak. So Cassandra Capital is all about me marrying the idea of women's voices and money equals power. And how can we bring all of that together to celebrate women business owners and support them through the access to capital?
And do you find that if a woman with a great credit history and a man with a great credit history both go into the same bank, does a woman have a hurdle that a man doesn't?
Well, here's the interesting factoid. It wasn't up until after 1988 that I could go into a bank and sign a business loan without a husband, a brother, an uncle. My 10-year-old son could co-sign, but it had to be a man to co-sign a bank loan. So we are only now 40 years later, almost 40 years later, and women are still in the habit of, and I think it's within our nature also, to do it ourselves. Like, we're going to figure it out. It's either going to be credit cards, or we're going to max out and tap out our IRA and our 401k and our savings. We have the tendency to go that route, whereas I think men have more of a tendency to go to a bank or round up their golf buddies and say, hey, I've got a great idea. So Cassandra Capital, and the purpose of me forming this venture capital firm, is to give that same power to women, to round up women and say, okay, we're going to support this other women business owner.
So if somebody is watching this right now, how does she know if she should be contacting you?
So, well, first of all, I'm very open to women business owners here in the North Texas area. Our criteria for investing here will be women who are in what we're calling the growth stage. So that means she's got a product or service out in the market. She's got revenue coming in. But what would it mean to her if we gave her $100,000, a $250,000 investment to take her business from this level to this level? That's what we're interested in.
Wow. And now, if you noticed how smooth Wendi is, it's because she's not a newbie to broadcasting. We found her sizzle reel. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
Welcome to Lifestyle Profiles. I'm Wendi McGowan-Ellis, and this week our guest is Dr. Bradley Barth. He is a pediatric gastroenterologist at the brand new UT Southwestern facility here in Frisco. So how did you come to be a part of the Dallas Stars organization? How did that happen, and how long have you been with them?
I've been with them just under 6 years.
Okay.
I joined in the beginning of the 2014.
Today, here on Lifestyle Profiles, we have Johnny Della Valden from Cowboys Fit. We are here in the Star Complex in this beautiful facility.
The community received those initiatives so well.
With all of this accomplishment that's already happened in the last 7 months.
Yes.
Today we're going to talk about your background with regard to community service. So what does that look like here in Frisco? What all have you done? Does this pin mean something special?
It's my Led Zeppelin pin.
We're so talking about that. He has on a Led Zeppelin pin.
You are so smooth. Now, did you consider like a career in television news?
No, not at all. In fact, if Robert Riggs is watching this, he remembers my first time that this was back in the .com days, like 99, 2000, an executive producer, and I cannot remember, Carrie Brewer Martinez wanted to launch a tech show, and Robert Riggs was going to host, and I was going to be the co-host. Watching paint dry was more exciting than watching me. And poor Robert, the whole time, he's like, oh my gosh, why is this woman standing here next to me? She's never been in front of a camera before. But somehow just over the years, especially through Lifestyle Frisco, I just kind of, you grow into it.
Well, that's something
as you know.
Yeah, well, you and I have a lot in common because we're both very passionate about podcasting. I feel like podcasting is the future, that instead of begging the media to tell your story, you can tell your own story.
Absolutely. You are your own radio station and media outlet. You should be. And
so if somebody is wanting to get into podcasting, doesn't really know, what they should do first, can they contact you?
No. And here's why. Okay. Jeff is doing a phenomenal job at this, and I've already toured these studios. You need to come here. Really. I have a few clients that women who mean a lot to me, and it means something for me to get their message out in the space, but I have a very strict parameter of who I take on as a client. They have to be the CEO of their own company. They have to have written a book. They have to have a certain number of connections or followers on LinkedIn. Like, all of my clients fit that parameter, and the catch is they already have ready-made audience. So that's why it's really easy for us to build up and grow a show for them, because they already have that groundwork laid where they have an audience ready and receptive for their podcasts.
Well, we've been talking about women throughout this broadcast. Let's talk about NAWBO.
Yes.
So how long have you been active?
So I've been active. This is my second go around. I was active in NAWBO in the early 90s, but NAWBO was founded here in Dallas, and NAWBO stands for National Association of Women Business Owners. And the DFW chapter was established here in 1985, and I believe, again, this was pre-internet, so I'm having a hard time finding records, but I do believe that Valerie Freeman, CEO of Bravo Tech and Imprimis, was our first president. And so I was involved with the organization in the 90s, and now I've been back here for the last 2 years. I'm currently serving as president-elect of the organization, and so next year I will be president, and then the following year I will be past president, and which allows for nice continuity through the chapters.
And before we show this video, I want to set it up. So Scent Marshall.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
I'm so excited about this. So, yes, so this past April March 2022, we had our first real big event since pandemic time. And it was the Women's Leadership Forum in Hurst, Texas. And Cent Marshall, the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks, was our keynote speaker. And here you go.
Oh my goodness. It's
How
so
can
much
you not
fun.
dance with that? I think I'm the one who shot that video because I think I jumped up on stage and with my phone and I was like, oh, this is classic.
Well, when I was preparing for the show this morning, I found that video, and it's like an earworm. I can't stop hearing it now.
I know.
But you guys have a lot of fun, but you also take care of business. Let's talk about the value of joining.
So, yes. So, we are, our organization now has 110 members in our chapter. We have a goal of reaching 200 this year. And our big thing is to support women with resources. Again, access to funds, education, how to manage your books, how to execute more effective marketing, just all of the things that go into running a business. A lot of our women business owners are wearing multiple hats in addition to being entrepreneur and founder. They're having to run several different aspects of their business. But I would like to just share real quickly who we are by the numbers, and I'm going to look at my tablet so that I don't get these off, but 68% of businesses owned by NAWBO members are larger than the average woman-owned business in terms of number of employees. 10 years is the average length of time of our members' businesses that they've been around. 35% is the number of NAWBO members in the professional, scientific, and technical worlds, which I think in today's day and age with everyone wanting to make sure that their women and girls have access to STEM education, I think that's incredibly important and significant for our chapter. And then 1 million is a big number. 25% of all NAWBO members make more than 1 million a year in their business.
Wow.
So we aren't small, just starting out. Some of us are, but the majority and a big portion of our members are making substantial income and are, supporting themselves and their families through their businesses.
Absolutely. I remember when I quit Channel 4, because I had hung around with a lot of working people who worked for somebody else. And then suddenly I found myself kind of lonely. Like I need to find a new tribe to hang out with because you can't, if somebody is working for a large company, they don't really relate to the stresses of running a business. Right.
And you are the 5 people who you hang around. So I choose to be a part of this organization so that I am around other women who understand my journey, can also offer advice, for some of these women who have larger businesses than I do right now, then they're offering advice and mentorship. And then I can also turn around and look at the woman behind me who's coming behind and isn't quite at the stage that I'm at yet and give advice and mentorship and just support to her.
Absolutely. We've got about a minute left. Wendi, final thoughts for the person watching at home.
Oh, my. Final thoughts. First of all, you've got to get in here into the studio.
You're too kind. You're too kind.
So final thoughts are, if you're a woman who's watching this show and you are a woman business owner, please check us out at nawbo-sfba.org. And if you are a woman who's got a business at that growth stage that I talked about earlier, I am Wendi, W-E-N-D-I, at CassandraCapital.co. So .co, not com. So please reach out to me there, and I'm happy to talk about your business and where you are in your growth journey, and hopefully we can maybe form a more lucrative relationship.
I love that. Robert Riggs would be proud. We're
Yes,
going to have
I
to
hope so.
shout out to Robert Riggs. We're going to end with both websites. Let's do CassandraCapital.co first.
Yes.
And they can reach out to you through the website.
Yes.
And then finally, nawbo-sfba.org.
Yes.
And all they have to do is sign up for a meeting?
Yes. Well, we have complimentary every month. It's a free virtual breakfast with the president where you can get more information on us and on the chapter, free, no obligation, and it's virtual. And then we also have monthly chapter lunches and meetings. So.
Outstanding.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
That's it for now.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.